Why the Boston Red Sox just got a lot better at first base with the addition of Nathaniel Lowe.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby Maljanian, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Balling podcast as well. And I am here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox, Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed. And the best part, it's completely free. So make sure you tune in because Locked On is here for you every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on today's show, but happy Monday. Welcome to the show. As you can see, I am not in my usual spot. I'm actually in a hotel right now. So if you notice a different background, that is why. But the Red Sox are coming off of a series win against the Marlins in which the last game really put a damper on things because it really felt like they had the series sweep secured and then completely melted down in the final couple innings of Sunday's game. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that series later on in the show, but the Red Sox first base situation has had a gray area ever since Tristan Casas went down with his injury in early May and will be missing the rest of the season. And they have had Abraham Toro and Romy Gonzalez platooning at first base. And Abraham Toro, when he was first called up, which was right when Tristan Casas' injury took place, was raking and was really productive offensively and arguably was one of the Red Sox best hitters there for a couple months. But he recently has fallen back down to earth and has been a lot less productive at the plate as of late. So it's hard to picture banking on him continuing to get back to what he was earlier on in the season for the Red Sox to make a playoff push, because it's hard to justify keeping somebody around to get regular playing time if they aren't going to be able to show that productivity at the plate. So the Red Sox decided to pick up Nathaniel Lowe, who had been DFA'd by the Washington Nationals, and the Red Sox immediately swarmed in because Craig Breslow kind of dropped the ball a little bit at the trade deadline by not acquiring a first baseman. So because of that, the Red Sox got kind of stuck in this spot of, well, we don't really have a true everyday first baseman that we can utilize now because we didn't acquire somebody at the deadline. So now we have to just hope that somebody becomes available on waivers or that Abraham Toro decides to step up again. So it definitely put the Red Sox in a tough spot, but Lowe became available because the Nationals had DFA'd him, and now the Red Sox are in a situation where they got a guy who hasn't necessarily had his best season this year, but he is a guy who has shown over his career a lot of competitiveness at first base, both offensively and defensively. So with where the Red Sox are at right now, they decided to take a flyer on him. He's had a down year, but he does rank in the top 10 in F-WAR among first basemen over the past 3 seasons. So essentially what that means is wins above replacement. So he essentially ranks in the top 10 at his position over the past 3 seasons in terms of how many more wins his team gets with him playing first base as opposed to a replacement player would get them, which is good. He's a former Silver Slugger and Gold Glove Award winner who should provide the Red Sox with additional production at first base. So this is not the first time that the Red Sox have added a first baseman in August, hoping to get a spark. Remember, in 2021, the Red Sox claimed Travis Shaw off of waivers from the Brewers. He ended up making his debut for the team on August 17th of that year and did help give the team a push down the stretch, a team that went to the ALCS and people didn't really expect them to. Over 28 games that year, he posted an .843 OPS, including 3 home runs. In his 3rd game for the team, he hit a walk-off grand slam in the 11th inning against the Rangers. Lowe is also a left-handed hitting first baseman, just like Shaw was, who both were removed from their most productive seasons when the Red Sox acquired them. Shaw had posted back-to-back seasons with over 3.5 WAR in 2017 and 2018 before his production dropped off. Lowe registered 8.4 wins above replacement with 62 home runs from 2021 to 2023. So since then, he has been struggling. Lowe's defensive production has fallen off around the same time as his offense has, but a change of scenery could be good for him. It can be hard to join a new team and make an immediate impact. So let's not jump to conclusions if it takes him a little bit of time to ease into things. But he will have opportunities primarily against right-handed pitching. Even in a down year, he has shown power to all fields with 16 home runs, which hopefully can provide a little bit of a spark for the Red Sox offense. And with the team in the thick of the playoff chase, might as well take a flyer on somebody to try to help you down the stretch. So basically the matter of the situation is that the Red Sox are not planning to play him there every day. Abraham Toro, there isn't really going to be a spot for him on the roster at this point, but he is expected to split time with Romy Gonzalez because Romy has been killing left-handed pitching this year in 109 plate appearances against lefties. He's hitting .354 with a .404 on base percentage and .667 slugging. And after a strong start to the season, Abraham Toro's performance has faltered over the past month or so, leaving a big opportunity for Lowe to step in and perform. Despite the questions at first base, the Red Sox do rank fourth in runs scored in the majors with 626 of them in 125 games, just 14 behind the big league leading Los Angeles Dodgers. The Red Sox definitely have potential waiting in AAA with the potential of Christian Campbell eventually playing first base for this team. Vaughn Grissom is still playing well enough in Worcester right now for an opportunity to maybe play there down the road. And the password, Joe Stinksing Garcia, the Red Sox top prospect, has slugged 17 home runs in 65 games. He's also seeing time at first base. So the Red Sox are definitely still open to figuring out a more long-term solution at first. But for right now, for the playoff push, they felt like it was best to bring in Lowe, who went unclaimed on waivers. So the Nationals will owe him most of the remainder of his $10.3 million salary, and then he'll be arbitration eligible next offseason, offering the possibility that the Red Sox could bring him back in 2026 if they wanted to. The Red Sox currently are tied with the Mariners for the top wildcard spot, a half game ahead of the Yankees, and then the next closest team in the wildcard race is Cleveland, which is 3.5 games behind New York. So this is definitely the time for the Red Sox to do what they need to do to make a playoff push. So the biggest impact this will have on the team is that they're not relying on Abraham Toro anymore, whose productivity has fallen off as of late. Will Lowe be the superstar game-changing piece? Most likely not, but you do see some players go to a new team and end up being huge contributors more than you even expected them to. So there is that possibility that he comes to Boston and it ends up being a better environment for him now, and that the change was much needed and welcomed by him. Or he could come to Boston, he could struggle. You don't really know unless you take a flyer on a guy. But if he's going to be able to split time with Romy at first base, then the chances are that they just need him to be an average player who can hit some home runs and play serviceable defense at first base. They're not asking him to be a superstar player here. And I like this move for the Red Sox because this does provide some depth and a little bit more of a full-blown solution at first base for at least the next couple months when they try to make a deep playoff run. And if he doesn't play well over these next couple months and he doesn't really move the needle, then the Red Sox just don't have to bring him back in 2026. But they're taking a flyer on somebody, hoping that he could maybe find a little bit more success now that he is in a new environment, and he's somebody who could split time with a guy who just has been raking against lefties. So you want to feel like the combination of Romy and Lowe is better than the combination of Romy and Toro was. And if Toro was still hitting the way that he was earlier on in the season, I don't know that the Red Sox would have made this move. I actually don't think they would have. I think they felt like they couldn't really trust and rely on Abraham Toro in that spot to be able to produce from an offensive standpoint, especially. So they said, hey, we have this guy, Lowe, who we could bring in and could split time with Romy at first. So we'll have to see how that goes, but it's a good move for Boston to be able to have somebody there who you feel could be a better platoon option than Abraham Toro was, and at least a little bit of an upgrade for him. So hopefully we see results from him, and if not, don't bring him back next year, and you took a flyer on him. And coming up, though, the Red Sox did get some unfortunate news over the weekend on rookie Marcelo Mayer, so I'm going to be discussing that next. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. If you have your eye on big name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in the game. So if you're really excited to see Josh Allen this season, you think he's going to have an MVP season, you can go on Prize Picks and make that play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get those picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, run your game. I am telling you, it becomes super addicting. And now that football season, if you can believe it, is already here. This is the great time to go and sign up for Prize Picks if you haven't done so already. So make sure you do that today. Well, the Boston Red Sox are coming off of a series win against the Marlins. It was also a frustrating last game of that series when you felt like they had the sweep in the bag and they were unable to close it out. So while that frustration was going on, they also received some unfortunate news about Marcelo Mayer that he is going to require season-ending surgery on his right wrist. So he will not be able to play at all the rest of the season. The 22-year-old Mayer injured the wrist in late July. He got an injection to try to come back, but decided to have surgery. He said he has a tear that hadn't improved with the anti-inflammatory injection. They figured they would try the injection just to see if that could work, at least temporarily, for him to get through the rest of the season. And unfortunately, it's just not happening. He said, I knew definitely that it was going to be on the table. As an athlete and somebody that loves this game so much, all I want to do is play and be out there every single day, especially when you're in the big leagues and the playoffs are so important. The way that my wrist is right now, there's just no way to come back and play. It made the decision pretty easy to have the surgery. I agree with him. As much as it sucks for him that he's not going to be able to play in these last couple months, the last thing you want is for him to push it and that it affects his long-term health and durability down the road. So I'd rather nip this in the butt now, have him miss the rest of the season, and then hopefully he can come back stronger going into next year and can just have a super successful rest of his Red Sox career. That would definitely be ideal in this scenario. He was drafted 4th overall in 2021 and was called up in late May. A natural shortstop, he played mostly third base because Alex Bregman was hurt, and he batted .228 with 4 home runs and 10 RBIs over 44 games. So he was making a difference, primarily defensively, though. That was the area of his game that was really noticeable and making an impact at the major league level. And then when Alex Bregman came back, they moved him over to second base, so he hasn't gotten to play shortstop yet because Trevor Story plays that position now. But once Trevor Story's contract is up, the Red Sox likely would not have him come back again, and they would just move Mayer over to shortstop at that point. But he plays really good defense in the infield regardless of whatever position he's playing, which is something he really showcased and something that will be missed over the rest of this season. Alex Cora said the shot wasn't working. It's a 3-month recovery. He should be fine if everything goes well for spring training. He's a big part of the future of this organization. Just get him right, get him ready, and see what happens in the future. Cora said that he knew things weren't going well after Mayer played catch on Thursday's day off. He said he didn't sound too positive about it, and he said to Alex Cora, my swing is not right. Mayer said he gave it his all, but knew that surgery was the best option. He said, obviously, with options given, I could have had surgery when I first injured it or get the shot. I tried everything I could with the slight chance to come back and play. So obviously, he wanted to try to do the temporary solution with the shot so that he could come back for the rest of this season, but he was still feeling a lot of pain. So he figured, okay, I'll sacrifice the next couple months to be able to have a longer career. And yes, it's going to stink for him that he's going to have to be on the sidelines watching his team play over the next couple months and not be able to contribute to that. But he is making the best decision for his health in the long run. But it's something to monitor here because he did miss the final 2 months in the minors last season with a shoulder injury and didn't play after July 31st. So obviously it could just be coincidental that 2 seasons in a row he faces an injury in the later half of the season that kept him sidelined for the rest of it. But it's definitely something to be a little bit aware of because the Red Sox at this point are likely hesitant when it comes to extending Marcelo Mayer to a long-term contract because they want to make sure that he can be durable enough from a health standpoint before they were to go and make an offer for an extension. They've already done it with Roman Anthony and Christian Campbell, so I'm sure he feels like he's next to get that extension, and he definitely wants to be, and obviously he's a talented player who works hard, so I'm sure the Red Sox would like for that to happen at some point too, but it is kind of a risk to go and extend him right now when he hasn't fully shown an ability to be healthy and be able to stay on the field. So that's the biggest thing that I am looking at right now is can he have a fully healthy season? I'm not extending him until he shows that he can have a fully healthy season. And I'm sure that's where the Red Sox heads are at now. So it's an unfortunate situation for him, but now that it's happened 2 seasons in a row, it's definitely something to at least monitor and keep in mind. Because another thing to keep in mind too is when the Red Sox go into this offseason and they're looking to make improvements to the team to help them to stay competitive next year and make an even deeper run, if they were to make a run this year but get eliminated in the playoffs, they'll want to capitalize on that and continue to build this roster so that they can make a deeper run next year. And one of the biggest things that the Red Sox are going to need from a roster standpoint will be pitching. They traded for Dustin May this year at the trade deadline, but he's not exactly a solidified number 2 starter. The Red Sox are going to want an established number 2 behind Garrett Crochet, and with the unknowns surrounding guys like Lucas Giolito and Walker Buehler and Tanner Houck now being out for the entirety of the season next year, the Red Sox starting rotation could look a lot different, and it's a prime opportunity for them to make a move for a true number 2 starter. So if that were to be the case and the Red Sox were to say, okay, we want to trade for a true number 2, you have to feel like Marcelo Mayer's name could be brought up in trade discussions. Now, what's scary about that is it would be tough to have Marcelo be a headliner in a trade like that, just because with his inability so far to be able to stay healthy over the course of his career, I'm sure teams would probably be a little bit hesitant to trade for him, which is understandable. So because of that, there might be more pressure on the Red Sox to include other players that they might not have wanted to include otherwise in a trade package for a true number 2 starter. And that's the biggest downside to all of this is if Marcelo was fully healthy, they probably wouldn't even consider trading him in the first place because they do see him as a big piece of the future, especially with his defensive abilities. But now that he's faced with an injury for the 2nd season in a row, it's definitely something that they're probably considering. But the package and the price that the Red Sox are going to have to pay to get a guy like Joe Ryan, for example, who could be a true number 2 starter to put in that rotation behind Crochet and would make the Red Sox rotation significantly scarier than it is now, you are going to have to give up big pieces. And if Marcelo had been healthy, he could be the headliner in a trade like that just because of his durability and his versatility defensively and offensively. But because of that injury history right now, that could complicate things a little bit more. So it is interesting to see moving forward what the Red Sox do about Marcelo Mayer. Obviously, I'm praying for him. It's really sad. I hope he has a really quick recovery and can come back sooner rather than later to be with this Red Sox team and be on the field because that's where he wants to be. He loves this game and he wants to be playing, which makes a lot of sense. But what does this mean for a guy like Cedar Rafaela? So because of the fact that Mayer was out, the Red Sox had to have Cedar play second base more because Romy Gonzalez was also playing second base. but he's not really somebody the Red Sox see as an everyday player. They see him as more of a platoon guy. So Abraham Toro was getting a lot of the workload at first base because they were having Romy play second base and kind of platoon that with Cedon. Cedon is a lot better defensively in the outfield. Alex Cora even said he should win a Gold Glove in center field. So people are getting frustrated because they're like, well, why are the Red Sox having him primarily play second base now if center field is his position? And that's where they feel that he is at his best. So that's all valid. The biggest thing here is that the Red Sox need to make things work based on what they have available. Nobody could have anticipated that Marcelo was just going to go down with an injury. And with all the shuffling around that they've had to do, most likely this solidifies that we'll see Cedon at second base a lot for the rest of the season. Now, what I am a little bit worried about there is the defensive quality of the Red Sox infield as a whole taking a hit because of this, because Rafaela has shown that he is a lot better and more comfortable defensively in the outfield. So that's something that I'm a little wary of when it comes to him playing second base in a lot of these games. But especially now that they have Lowe to play first base, they're going to want to still platoon him most likely with Romy Gonzalez in that spot. So therefore, that means Cedon is going to be playing a lot of second base, because then you can have an outfield that consists of Wilyer Abreu, Jarren Duran, and Roman Anthony. And also, Yoshida could miss some playing time too, because now that they're going to insert Lowe into that lineup on days where they want Roman Anthony to DH, you're not going to see Yoshida in the lineup, and that could end up happening more frequently too. So lots of shuffling around here that needs to be done. Obviously, Marcelo Mayer's injury is a big hit to this Red Sox team. He's somebody who, especially defensively, could have helped tremendously down the stretch, but hoping for a quick and smooth recovery for him. And coming up, though, I'm going to be talking a little bit about that Marlins series and why the end of that series was so infuriating. If you love sports betting, now is your time to join FanDuel if you haven't already. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. So you can take a flyer on the MVP race. Like if you think Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson is going to win MVP, go and pick that. Or parlay your division winner dark horses, which can make you a lot of money. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. I'll be reminding you about Futures Day a little bit more prior to that coming up, but it's coming up quickly. It's right around the corner. So make sure that you don't miss out. So you can get yourself prepared now in advance by downloading the FanDuel app today and starting to place other bets so you can kind of get a sense of what the app is like, and you will make tons of money. The Red Sox defeated the Marlins in 2 out of 3 games over the weekend. They won the first game on a 2-1 walk-off, thanks to Trevor Story. The poor pitcher who came in for the Marlins is young and just did not have a lot of command in the 9th inning, and the Red Sox were able to load the bases in the 9th inning, and ultimately it led to them winning the game. It was back-to-back walks and then a hit by pitch. So then the pitcher got pulled, and then Trevor Story immediately singled to right to walk it off for the Red Sox. So that was a pretty stressful game because they weren't scoring a lot of runs in this one because Miami had Sandy Alcantara on the hill, and he dominated for them. 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. The Red Sox offense really was not seeing him well at all. And Lucas Giolito had a pretty good outing too. He threw 6 1/3, giving up 7 hits, but just 1 earned run with 1 walk and 5 strikeouts. He wasn't insanely sharp. He threw 92 pitches with 63 of them going for strikes, which is a pretty good metric. But he did give up a lot of base runners, but the biggest thing was he was able to execute and deliver the right pitches when he needed to really put guys away instead of allowing damage to be done. And that's something that we weren't seeing a lot of early on from Giolito, was him having that ability to throw those put away pitches. And he was doing that when there was base traffic, and he was able to get out of a lot of jams. So I really liked what I saw from him in that outing. he continues to be really reliable out of this Red Sox rotation, which has been a nice surprise in the best way to be able to witness as a fan, because he was one of the biggest question marks in the rotation going into the season, was what version of Lucas Giolito are we going to get? So we got the good one that night, and that game as a whole was a good example of the Red Sox finding a way, grinding through to a win. It was a tight game. They were down 1-0 for a long time, finally came back and tied it, and then grinded through, took really patient at-bats, and won 2-1 on a walk-off. And that's what happens. Good things happen when the Red Sox grind through their at-bats. And I really liked a lot of what I saw offensively, even though they weren't getting a lot of offensive action off of Alcantara. They really were able to work, and they were able to make sure that they weren't swinging at junk and that they were patient at the plate. And if you work a pitcher's pitch count, that is a good strategy when it comes to trying to win games. Is if you're facing a team's best pitcher and they're one of the best pitchers in the league, it's a strategy that you can utilize as a team. Is, okay, we're just going to try to have productive at-bats. We're not going to swing at balls in the dirt. We're going to try to really get his pitch count up. So even if we can't really score a lot on him, we can at least get him out of the game earlier. I like when the Red Sox use that approach offensively as a whole. So then you went to the following day on Saturday. The Red Sox in this one were up big, and it was just really frustrating because this was never a game in which the Red Sox should have had to utilize high leverage pitchers. They were literally up 7-0 in this game because they just kept scoring and scoring and scoring in the early going. And Brian Bello was pitching, and he also looked really sharp in this game. He threw 6 1/3 innings, giving up 4 hits and 2 earned runs with no walks and 2 strikeouts. He ended up giving up 2 home runs in that game, and he still looked really sharp. 78 pitches with 52 of them going for strikes. So it was definitely nice to see Bello have the outing that he did. But things got messy in the late innings. After he pitched, Justin Wilson came in and took care of business. Steven Matz came in and pitched an inning and took care of business. But then Isaiah Campbell came in, pitched 2/3 of an inning, giving up 4 hits and 3 earned runs in that span. So then the score became 7-5. So then because of that, Aroldis Chapman had to come in and take care of business and close it out. But Chapman had pitched the night before in the top of the 9th inning when it was a tie game, because that's always a spot he pitches in if it's tied in the top of the 9th, to give the Red Sox the chance to walk it off in the bottom of the inning. So he was used on Friday night, and that was fine. It was a high leverage situation. It was a close game, whatever. But because of Isaiah Campbell not being able to get that 3rd out and taking care of business in the 9th inning, the Red Sox then needed to lean on Chapman to come in and close it out. So that was 2 games in a row that he pitched in. Now, he literally threw just 3 pitches on Saturday, dealt with 1 batter, and was incredibly sharp, done. So because of that, there were people who were hoping he could have been available on Sunday, but as a pitcher, it's really difficult to pitch 3 days in a row with the warm-up routine and everything that goes into it. It's a lot easier said than done to just say, oh, they should have put Chapman in. Chapman was not available to throw on Sunday because of the extensive warm-up routine that he did both Friday and Saturday to go in and pitch, and they're going to need Chapman down the stretch, so they can't really be pushing him too much right now, especially because they had already won the series. If this was a series that was on the line and they were saying, well, we really need to win this series against the Marlins, then possibly they chance it, but they don't really want to take risks with somebody at his age when they're really going to need him to pitch in that closing role down the stretch if they want to be taken seriously as a playoff team and potentially make a deep run. So they figured, we already won the series. It's unfortunate that our closer can't be used, but it is what it is. But because he couldn't be used, the Red Sox ended up blowing a lead. Garrett Crochet was really solid. 7 innings, 3 hits, just 1 earned run, which came on a home run, 1 walk, and 8 strikeouts. He threw 94 pitches with 60 of them going for strikes, and he looked really good. And then Garrett Whitlock came in, threw 1 inning, giving up 2 hits and 1 earned run with 1 strikeout. He looked okay, didn't have his best outing, threw 21 pitches, and 15 of those went for strikes, so he was throwing them in the zone. It was just, guys were able to hit him So he gave up a run. And then Greg Weissert came in and completely blew it through 1/3 of an inning, giving up 2 hits and 2 earned runs on a 2-run homer. And then Steven Matz came in through 0.2 innings, gave up 1 hit and 1 earned run, which also came on a home run. So there was a problem with the home runs in this game, and the Marlins relied on the long ball to win. The Red Sox were up in this game too, and it felt like they had a series sweep on lock because they did go down 1-0 early on a home run, but then the Red Sox rallied back and ended up taking a 3-1 lead, which they carried all the way into the 8th inning before the Marlins woke up and started scoring, made it a 3-2 game going into the 9th. And then sure enough, 2 home runs in the 9th inning, and bam, the Marlins take the lead. And then the Red Sox could not score in the bottom of the inning, and that's how the game ended. And this was infuriating because this was a complete bullpen collapse. And obviously, in the grand scheme of things, you look back on it and you say, well, if Chapman had been pitching in that game, the Red Sox probably don't lose. But if Isaiah Campbell had been able to get just 1 more out the day before, then Chapman wouldn't have had to pitch Saturday, and then he would have been available on Sunday. So ultimately, yes, this was a really bad loss, but Isaiah Campbell has to go. Cannot have him be a piece of this bullpen down the stretch. The Red Sox have given him multiple chances in the majors, and he hasn't been able to figure it out. So he's got to go. Hopefully that move happens. And it was just an utter collapse by the bullpen, and it was completely infuriating. They just didn't have it. But again, if you look back on Saturday, it was all a trickle-down effect because there was no reason Chapman should have had to be used on Saturday when the Red Sox had a 7-0 lead at one point in that game. No reason Chapman should have had to come in. So it's all a spiral effect leading to Sunday. He couldn't be used. The Red Sox lost. But overall, liked a lot of what I saw from the starters in the series. Sharp outings from them. And that's good momentum for the Red Sox to take into this rare 2-game series against the Baltimore Orioles. So we'll see what happens there. But thank you for tuning into Locked On Red Sox and making it your first listen of every day. Make sure to next check out Locked On MLB Game Night, which is our Locked On experts talking about every game, every single night until a World Series champion is crowned. They will give you local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. It's a great show. Make sure you check it out next. Keep the faith. Go Red Sox, and I'll catch you on the flip side.